Hello and welcome to Today we'll be baking a homemade Dutch apple pie. Starting with the filling, the ingredients you'll need are 6 to 8 Gala apples, sugar, flour, ground nutmeg, ground cinnamon, and lemon juice. If you prefer fresh lemon juice, use that instead. The utensils that you'll need are a plate or a cutting board, a small bowl, a big bowl, a butter knife, some measuring cups, a fourth of a teaspoon, half a teaspoon, a teaspoon, a fourth of a cup, and a cup, a wooden spoon, a fork, a sharp knife, and a peeler. If you have an apple peeler, use that instead. Add a cup of sugar to the small bowl, add a fourth cup of flour, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and an eighth of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. I don't have an eighth of a teaspoon, so instead I used half of a fourth of a teaspoon. Mix together, then set aside. Using a plastic bag, peel the apples above so the peels land inside. I decided to use a steak knife instead because my peeler was not cooperating with me. Please be careful if you have to use a knife instead as well. Once all the apples are peeled, put any of the peels that didn't land in the bag into the bag and roll up for easy cleanup. Using another plate, it's time to core and slice the apples. Cut the apple in half and set one half to the side. Make a cut between where you think the farthest part of the core would be. Do the same thing to the opposite side. Then slice the apple from top to bottom to cut out the core. Once the core has been removed, begin thinly slicing the apples. With another bowl, add some of the apples, then add some of the sugar mixture and coat all the apples. Continue until all the apples are coated. Add a teaspoon of lemon juice, hand toss to mix thoroughly and set aside. The ingredients you'll need for the crust are flour, butter, cream cheese, salt, and water. The utensils you'll need are a measuring cup for the water, a small plate, a sharp knife, a butter knife, a fork, half a teaspoon, a cup, a big bowl, and half a cup. In the big bowl, add 2.5 cups of flour. Add a teaspoon of salt and mix together. Using the plate and the knives, cut the butter into small cubes. Also cut the cream cheese into small cubes and put into the bowl. If you have a food processor, use this for the entire crust part. Use the fork and butter knife to cut the butter and cream cheese into the dry mixture until they are pea-sized clumps. Add in a half a cup of water in small increments and continue to combine until the dough becomes hard to mix. Form the dough into a ball. Flour the countertop and cut the dough in half and save one of the halves for the next recipe. With the other half of the dough, roll it out using the rolling pin, turning the dough when rolling so it doesn't stick to the countertop. Roll it out until it's about 2 inches wider than the pie dish. Carefully move the dough into the dish and make sure the pie fits perfectly into the pan and there are no air bubbles. Trim the excess dough hanging off. I put the leftover trimmings on the top of the edges of the pie dish. Crimp the edges. I just make a little V with my index finger and thumb with one hand and push with the other index finger on my other. Do it to the entire pie. Place it in the refrigerator. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. The ingredients you'll need for the topping are sugar, flour, ground cinnamon, a fourth cup of butter, and brown sugar. The utensils that you'll need are a plate, half a cup, a fourth of a cup, a teaspoon, a butter knife, a sharp knife, a fork, and a big bowl. To the bowl, add a half a cup of flour, a fourth cup of sugar, a fourth cup of firmly packed brown sugar. Thoroughly mix. Add a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Mix again. Using the plate and knives, cut the butter into small cubes again, then add it to the mixture. Combine thoroughly until the butter is in pea-sized clumps. And looks like this. Finally, it's time to put the pie together. Fill the pie crust with as much apples as it needs. I have enough apples to make a second pie. Next, add the topping and spread as evenly as you can. Place a foil-lined pan on the rack underneath where the pie will be placed. This pan is a safety net to catch any juice that may overflow from the pie. Bake for an hour until the topping is golden. Let it cool for at least 10 to 15 minutes before you enjoy. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and I hope you try out this recipe.